Hi everyone, this is Charlize from Forward Chess, and today our opening series continues with the much requested video on the Catalan. Let's get started. So the Catalan name origins is said to have come from the beautiful region of Catalonia, Spain, Barcelona, specifically in the 1929 Barcelona tournament with Savili Tartakower. I don't think I pronounced that right, but anyway. Tartakower came up with this opening, or it's said to have come up with this opening during this tournament where players used it quite successfully, but there have been records of it being played way before, so we don't really know. Point is, the name comes from there. Now, today we are going to look at two variations just to understand the essence of the Catalan, and that is the open and the closed variations. But what are open and closed variations? These are terms you will find in opening names quite often, and it is used to indicate what type of game the opening will lead to. And this specifically is decided by the pawn structure. So let's take a look. Open variations, the pawn structures are a lot more fluid, because one or more pawns are exchanged early on in the game. In open variations, the lines are quite open. By lines, I mean files and diagonals, so that pieces can move around a lot more freely, specifically rooks, bishops, and queens. Open variations are typically characterized by tactical play, as fewer pawns on the board mean greater mobility for pieces and more immediate contact between opposing forces. Closed variations, on the other hand, have static pawn structures with fewer pawn exchanges. The pawns often block the center, leading to slower and more strategic play. These positions require more maneuvering and positional understanding, as players need to prepare pawn breaks or piece repositioning to create weaknesses or gain space. As we can see, in this position, black has created a solid pawn structure, triangle, and this has closed the position. So in the Catalan, whether black captures on c4 or not decides if it will be a closed or an open game. Now let's get into the theoretical side of things. There are many different types of move orders in the Catalan, especially with theory developing. People have found different ways to reach a certain position, but we are going to look at one specific way based on the book, The Powerful Catalan, Complete Repertoire for White, which is available on Forward Chess, and that starts with d4, knight f6, c4, e6. Now note that black could have played d5 earlier. Black can't exactly do that now, because here white just captures, black captures, and then you get this nice tempo with e4. This is just a side note, this isn't Catalan, but the slight nuance in move order is quite important. So black plays e6 first, white plays knight f3, now black plays d5, and then we've got g3. One important characteristic of the Catalan you'll see is that we get this bishop on g2, which looks at the whole board. It becomes quite strong. In any case, after g3 we have bishop e7, bishop g2, castle, castle, and at this point we are going to be talking about the open Catalan, which is where black captures on c4. If black wants to keep it closed, they will just play c6. Now after d takes c4, as white you should be prepared to go without that pawn for a little while. There are ways to win it back, and you most likely will. Black can try to hold on, but chances of white regaining the pawn are quite high. And notice that this Catalan bishop has now been opened, and this is one of the strongest aspects of the opening for white. You love this bishop being open. You've got so much space because the center is now open and your pieces have space to move around. So now usually white can aim to recapture the pawn with a move like queen c2, attacking c4, and black's most popular way of continuing is by playing a6. Now the point of a6 is that black, let's choose a different color for black, black wants to play b5 and attack the queen, and this is usually how the main line goes. But white will recapture the pawn anyway, develop the pieces, and yeah, our light squared bishop is quite strong. Black has to find a way to play against that. Quite often white also just plays a4 here to stop b5 from coming, and you get lines such as bishop d7, queen takes c4, bishop c6, which looks a little funky, but point is black is trying to neutralize our light squared bishop over here. If you want to take a look, there's a lot of theory, a lot of different kinds of positions in the Catalan, and you really learn a lot of chess by learning this opening. Let's take a look at the closed variation. So let us reinforce the few beginning moves of the opening by going through them again. We've got d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, g3. By the way, a point of the Catalan is that this knight to c3 is delayed. So we prioritize kingside development and castling first before doing anything on the queen side. You're waiting for black to decide what they want to do. So after g3, bishop e7, bishop g2, castle, castle, and now the closed variation comes with c6. Black intends to keep things solid, and we won't go into much theory here, but basically what is going to happen is that black is going to develop the bishop via b7 or a6 and knight d7, etc. As white, we are going to bring our knight to c3, queen will come to c2, and there are always ideas of playing e4 as well. So even though black kept things tight, white will still aim to break through in the center. And that's the open and the close. Now there are many other variations. There's bishop b4 over here, for example, even c5, Tarrasch kind of setup, and it's so much to learn. What we've gone through are probably the two main kind of positions you'll get in Catalan, and this opening is just so rich and full of ideas. There is a lot to learn, and there are a lot of books you can learn from. I'll link them down below. So yeah, I hope that you'll have as much fun as I do with this opening. I started playing this about a year ago, and the results have been pretty good. I'll let you know if things change, and let us know how it goes for you. Happy learning!